Have you ever heard of a royal family that claims to be the oldest in the entire world? I'm talking a lineage that supposedly stretches back over 6,000 years. Well, today we're going to dive right into that claim by exploring the incredible story of India's Katoch clan.
And there it is. That's the quote, right from our source material. That kicks this whole thing off. The oldest surviving royal family in the world. That is a huge claim. So let's spend the next few minutes unpacking the stories and the history behind that statement to figure out who the Katoch really are.
Now, it's super important to know that everything we're about to talk about comes from one specific source, a blog post written by Arvind Katrich. So our goal here isn't to prove or disprove anything, but just to explore and explain the narrative that's presented in that article. Ready? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this ancient clan, we've got to start with their name. Because according to our source, their whole identity, their entire history as warriors, is baked right into that one word. The article kicks things off by placing them within India's social fabric. They're part of the Kshatriya, which is the warrior caste, and more specifically, they're Rajputs, who are famous for their martial history. And get this, they trace their lineage all the way back to the Chandravanshi, the lunar dynasty, which is one of the two legendary royal lines in ancient India.
And here is where it all clicks. The name Katoch, our source tells us, literally means a good, skillful swordsman. Think about that. Their reputation as warriors isn't just something they did, it's who they are right there in their name.
But wait, the plot thickens a little. In the comments of the original article, someone else chimes in with a slightly different take. They suggest Kat means army and Oak means high, which would make Katoch mean high army. So whether you translate it as skillful swordsman or high army, both roads lead to the exact same place, a legacy of being elite warriors.
So this whole warrior identity, it's not just rooted in history, it goes way, way deeper. According to the source, their story actually begins in the realm of mythology, with gods and demons. And the article puts a date on this origin that is just staggering, 4300 BC. To give you some perspective, that's way older than the Great Pyramids of Giza. This is supposedly when the clan's founder, a man named Rajanaka Bhumi Chand, first came to be. The founding story itself, as told in the Brahman Purana, is straight-up epic. Picture this. The goddess Ambika is in a massive battle with a powerful demon. In the middle of the fight, a drop of her sweat falls to the earth, and from that single drop, a warrior springs to life. That's Bhumachand. He immediately jumps into the fight, helps take down the demon, and as a reward for his courage, the goddess grants him his very own kingdom. And that kingdom was called Trigarda. But this isn't just some mythical land. The source connects this epic event to a very real place, a territory tucked between three major rivers in northern India, the Sutlej, the Beas, and the Ravi.
But the article argues this warrior identity didn't just stay in the realm of myth. It was forged and proven over thousands of years of actual history, creating this unbroken line of battle and bravery.
And man, this timeline really puts that journey into perspective. The source claims that Katoch kings fought in the legendary Mahabharata War, that King Porus, the one who famously stood up to Alexander the Great, was actually one of them, and that this legacy just kept going all the way through leaders like Maharaja Sansar Chand and right into the era of the British Raj.
This quote from the article really says it all. It claims their reputation was so strong that by the time the British were in power, just having the last name Katoch was basically your ticket into the army. No other qualifications needed. That speaks volumes about how they were seen.
So what happens to a 6,000-year-old warrior legacy here in the 21st century? How does a clan of swordsmen find their place in the modern world? Let's see what the source says. Well, the article points out that the royal family's descendants are still around, living near their ancestral lands and maintaining a deep connection to the historic Kangra fort. But it also highlights this huge evolution. While their past was all about the army and farming the land, today's Katoch clan members are, well, they're everywhere, in all kinds of modern jobs.
I mean, that shift is just massive, right? It shows a clan moving from roles defined by the sword and the soil to embracing literally every profession you can think of. It's a pretty amazing story of adaptation, of how a truly ancient identity can find its footing in a completely new world.
So we're left with this really interesting question. If you believe you belong to the world's oldest royal family, a line supposedly born from a goddess and defined by courage, what does that legacy actually mean today? When you're a software developer, or a teacher, or an artist,
How do you carry the honor and maybe the weight of 6,000 years of history into your everyday modern life? That's something to think about.